You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. I'm Nicholas Callis. These are your game recaps, standing updates, and league leaders from Wednesday, July the 1st, 2020. The Orioles beat the Yankees in an AL East matchup, 9-6 the final score of this game, though it was back and forth all throughout. The Orioles took the lead in the bottom of the 6th inning with a 4-run inning. Then the Yankees were able to tie it up with a 2-run 7th and a 1-run 8th. But then the Orioles walked it off with a 3-run home run in the bottom of the 9th inning. Michael Givens got the win and Zach Britton got the loss against his former team. The Mariners and Red Sox played each other, and the Red Sox won by 7 runs. 8-1 was the final score of this game. The Mariners scored first in this one, but then the Red Sox answered with a 3-run bottom of the 1st inning, and then they just kept scoring after that. Nathan Eovaldi got the win. Sedzik got the loss, and Weber earned his 2nd save of the season. The Rays beat the Angels. 6-1 was the final score of this game. A matchup against 2 primary starting pitchers in the American League. Blake Snell got the win and Shohei Ohtani got the loss. The Rays started scoring in the 4th inning. They had a 4-run bottom of the 4th. They tacked on a run in the 6th and in the 7th. The Angels' only run was scored in the top of the 8th inning. The Tigers and Twins played each other in an AL Central matchup, and the Tigers got blanked. 8-0 was the final score of this game. It went scoreless into the 6th inning, but then the Twins put up 5 runs. They also put up 3 runs in the top of the 8th inning. Jake Odorizzi got the win, and Matthew Boyd got the loss. The Astros beat the Indians in a close game. 3-2 was the final score. The Indians scored first. They put up a run in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Then the Astros put up 3 in the top of the 8th. The Indians tried to claw back with a run in the bottom of the 9th, but they could not come back. They lost by a run. Chris Davinsky got the win. Nick Whittegren got the loss, and Roberto Ozuna earned his 26th save of the season. The White Sox blanked the Blue Jays. 6-0 the final score of this game. The White Sox started scoring in the 2nd, put up a crooked number in the 4th with a 3-run inning. They also put up a run in the 6th and a run in the 8th. Gio Gonzalez got the win, and Hyunjin Ryu got the loss, just his 3rd of the year. Interleague play between the Diamondbacks and the Royals, and the Diamondbacks won by a healthy margin, 10-3, the final score of this game. Though the Royals scored first, they got 2 runs in the bottom of the 1st inning. Then the Diamondbacks put up 6 in the 4th inning, and they didn't lose the lead after that. Alex Young got the win, and Keller got the loss. Another interleague game, the Marlins edged out the Athletics by a run, 3-2, the final score of this game. Sandy Alcantara got the win, Jesus Luzardo got the loss, and Brandon Kinsler earned his 22nd save of the season. And another interleague game, the Braves played the Rangers, and the Rangers came out on top. 4-2 was the final score of this game. Lance Lynn got the win, Cole Hamels got the loss against one of his former teams, and Jose Leclerc earned his 19th save of the year. The Brewers and Cubs played each other in an NL Central matchup, and the Brewers won by a score of 6-1. The Brewers got 5 of their 6 runs in the top of the 1st inning, and they had the lead throughout this entire game. Eric Lauer got the win, and Tyler Chatwood got the loss. The Padres and Phillies played each other in a game that went to extra innings. The Phillies were able to tie it up in the bottom of the 8th inning. This game went 11 innings, and then the Phillies were able to walk it off in the bottom of the 11th inning. 5-4 the final score, though the Padres out-hit the Phillies 10-8. Adam Morgan got the win, and Matt Strahm got the loss. The Mets blanked the Giants. 2-0 was the final score of this game, and the Mets scored both their runs in the bottom of the 6th inning. Jacob deGrom got the win, and Johnny Cueto got the loss. The Rockies and Pirates played each other. Close game, but the Rockies won by a score of 2-1. The Rockies scored their first run in the 6th. The Pirates tied it up in the bottom of the 8th, and then the Rockies put up the go-ahead run in the top of the 9th inning, and the Pirates could not respond, and they lost. Jake McGee got the win, Nick Birdie got the loss, and Wade Davis earned his 19th save of the season. The Cardinals beat the Nationals by a score of 8-4, though both teams had 10 hits in this game. The outlying inning was when the Cardinals scored 5 in the bottom of the 1st, and they had the lead throughout most of this game. Dakota Hudson got the win, and Eric Fetty got the loss. And the Reds and Dodgers played each other 6-5, the final score of this game. The Reds came out on top. Each team had 13 hits in this game, but the outlying inning was the top of the 1st. The Reds got 5 runs. The Dodgers responded with a run in the bottom of the 1st inning, and they were chipping away, but they could not overcome the deficit, especially because the Reds put up an insurance run in the top of the 8th inning, which was much needed since the Dodgers lost by just 1 run. Sonny Gray got the win, Julio Urias got the loss, and Raisel Iglesias earned his 16th save of the season. Let's look at standings now. Starting in the American League East, the New York Yankees still at the top. They're 51-36. They lost today, as did the Blue Jays. So the Blue Jays don't gain any ground in the division. They're 49-37, still a game and a half back. The Rays working their way back up to 500. They're 43-45. They're 8.5 games back. The Red Sox have gone on a tear. They've won their last 7 games. They're 42-45, 9 games back of the Yankees. And the Orioles are 36-51, 15 games back of the Yankees for first place. In the American League Central, the Minnesota Twins still lead the division. They also have the best record in baseball, and they are the first team to 60 wins. They're 60-27. The White Sox are 52-35. They're 8 games back of the Twins in second place. The Indians are 49-38, one away from 50. They're 11 games back, though they lost today. The Tigers are 34-52, 25.5 games back. They've lost 2 in a row. And the Royals are on a 3-game losing streak. They're 30-57, and they're 30 games back of the Twins for first place. In the American League West, the Oakland Athletics are 53-34. They're still at the top of the division. The Astros are 48-37, 4 games back. The Angels 41-45, 11.5 games back. The Rangers are 36-52, 17.5 games back. And the Mariners have lost 4 games in a row. They're 30-58, and they're 23.5 games back of the A's for first place. The wildcard standings look like this. The White Sox have the top wildcard spot with a 52-35 record. The Blue Jays second with a 49-37 record, but the Indians close, as are the Astros. They're each a half game back of the Blue Jays for that second wildcard spot, and every other team in the American League has a winning percentage under 500 and is at least 7 games back of a wildcard spot. In the National League East, the Washington Nationals are 51-36. They're still at the top of the division. The Marlins back and secured in second place with a 47-40 record. They're 4 games back. The Braves lost today, which pushed them below the Marlins since the Marlins won today. They're 46-41. The Braves are 5 games back of the division. The Phillies are 41-45, 9.5 games back. They've won 2 games in a row, though. And the Mets have been on a hot streak. They've won 7 games in a row. They're 40-46. They're 10.5 games back of the Nationals. In the National League Central, the St. Louis Cardinals got their 50th win today against the Nationals. They're 50-37 now, still at the top of the division. The Cubs are 44-43, 6 games back. They've lost 2 games in a row. The Brewers are 41-44. They're 8 games back. They've won 2 in a row. The Reds are 35-52, 15 games back. And the Pirates are still in last place with a 32-54 record. They're 17.5 games back. In the National League West, the Los Angeles Dodgers lost today, so they're not at 60 wins yet. They're 59-28, though they still lead the NL West by a large margin. The Diamondbacks, the next best team in the division, they have a 49-38 record. They're 10 games back, but they've been hot recently. They've won 5 in a row. The Padres have been on a cold spell. They've lost 6 in a row. They're 44-42, now at risk of having a winning percentage over 500. They're 14.5 games back of the Dodgers. The Rockies, 35-51. They're 23.5 games back, though they've won 2 games in a row. And the Giants continue to stay cold. They've lost 7 games in a row. They're 32-54, and they're 26.5 games back of the Dodgers. And the wildcard standings look like this. The Diamondbacks have the top spot with their 49-38 record. The Marlins, the second wildcard team with a 47-40 record. Then the Braves are a game back with a 46-41 record. The Padres 44-42, 2.5 games back. The Cubs also relatively in contention with a 44-43 record, 3 games back. And every other team in the National League has a winning percentage under 500 and is at least 5 games back of a wildcard spot. And let's take a look at league leaders, starting with batting average leaders in the American League. Miguel Cabrera, still the leader. He has a .338 batting average. Miguel Andujar in second place now with a .335, and Chris Davis third best with a .332. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt still leads. He has a .357 average. Jonathan Villar second best with a .351, and Christian Yelich runs out the top 3 with a .339. Hits leaders in the American League, Miguel Andujar has the most with 120. 5 behind him is his teammate DJ LeMahieu with 115, and JD Martinez third best with 114. In the National League, Jonathan Villar is the most with 129, and it's not close. The next best player is Paul Goldschmidt with 114 hits, and Ronald Acuna Jr. third best with 106. At-bat leaders in the American League, Jose Abreu and Miguel Andujar each have the most with 358. In the National League, Jonathan Villar has the most with 368. Doubles leaders in the American League, Anthony Rendon still at 30. He's still the leader. Jose Abreu second best with 27. And Giancarlo Stanton third best with 26. In the National League, Jonathan Villar has 40. Christian Yelich second best with 31. Trey Turner, Nicholas Castellanos, and Ketel Marte all tied for third best with 26. Triples leaders in the American League, Adalberto Mondesi has the most with 7. Jose Altuve second best with 6. Adam Eaton, Whit Merrifield, and Steven Piscotty all tied for third best with 5. In the National League, Jonathan Villar has 11. Victor Robles second best with 6. Chris Bryant, Hunter Pence, and Cody Bellinger all tied for third best with 5. Home runs leaders in the American League, Justin Upton has the most, though he hasn't left 30 in quite a while. But he's still the leader of the AL. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. second best with 27. J.D. Martinez and Chris Davis tied for third best with 26. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. has 31. Paul Goldschmidt up to 29 now. He's second best. And Jock Peterson third best with 24. RBI leaders in the American League, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is at 82. Chris Davis 8 behind him with 74. Jorge Soler and Nelson Cruz tied for third best with 70. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt leads with 82, and it's not close. Cody Bellinger second best with 67. Christian Yelich and Freddie Freeman are each tied for third best with 66. Run scored leaders in the American League, J.D. Martinez has the most with 66. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. has the most with 73. Stolen base leaders in the American League, Adalberto Mondesi has the most with 20. D. Gordon second best with 19, and Malik Smith third best with 18. In the National League, Starling Marte has 30. Trey Turner 2 behind him with 28, and Jonathan Villar is third best with 22. Walks leaders in the American League, Alex Bregman has 56. In the National League, Rhys Hoskins leads with 62. On base percentage leaders in the American League, Alex Bregman has a .417 on base percentage. He's at the top. Carlos Santana second best with a .415, and Chris Davis also has a .415, slightly lower than Santana's, which makes him good for third best. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt leads with a .451. Christian Yelich the next best with a .443, and Ronald Acuna Jr. rounds out the top 3 with a .425. Slugging percentage leaders in the American League, Josh Donaldson has a .642. Yohan Moncada second best with a .628, and Chris Davis is third best with a .625. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. has a .725. 10 points behind him is Paul Goldschmidt with a .715, and Christian Yelich is third best with a .668. On base percentage plus slugging percentage leaders in the American League, Josh Donaldson's at a .1.052. He's at the top. Chris Davis the next best with a .1.041, and J.D. Martinez third best with a .1.018. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt leads with a .1.166. Ronald Acuna Jr. behind him with a .1.149, and Christian Yelich is third best with a .1.111. Moving on to pitcher leaderboards, starting with wins leaders in the American League, there are 3 pitchers now with 10 wins: Kenta Maeda, Jake Odorizzi, and Hyunjin Ryu. In the National League, Walker Buehler has 12 wins. He's at the top. Steven Strasburg second best with 10. Jimmy Nelson and Madison Bumgarner tied for third best with 9. Losses leaders in the American League, Kenta Maeda and Chris Bassett still undefeated on the mound, and they're still at the top of this leaderboard. In the National League, Caleb Smith, Steven Strasburg, Marcus Stroman, and Walker Buehler are all tied with the least amount of losses on the mound this year, and they're all at the top of this leaderboard. Saves leaders in the American League, Liam Hendriks is at the top with 31, Brad Hand second best with 30, and Roberto Ozuna third best with 26. In the National League, Giovanni Gallegos and Kenley Jansen tied for the top with 30. Craig Kimbrell behind them by 1 with 29. ERA leaders in the American League, Kenta Maeda has a .238, Jake Odorizzi is at a .248, and Jordan Zimmerman third best with a .274. In the National League, Marcus Stroman's under 2. He's at a .189 earned run average. Walker Buehler second best with a .217, and Steven Strasburg third best with a .237. Home runs allowed among American League pitchers, Gio Gonzalez is allowed the least amount with 7. In the National League, Marcus Stroman, Caleb Smith, and Robbie Ray all tied for the least amount of home runs given up with 6. Shutout leaders in the American League, Garrett Cole and Masahiro Tanaka have the most shutouts with 3. Jake Odorizzi third best with 2. In the National League, Jacob deGrom has thrown 4 complete game shutouts this year, the first pitcher to reach that mark, and there is a 4-way tie for second best. Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, Merrill Kelly, and Walker Buehler all tied for second best with 2. Strikeout leaders in the American League, Garrett Cole at the top with 152, Lucas Giolito second best with 138, and Jake Odorizzi third best with 127. In the National League, Steven Strasburg leads with 148. 4 behind him is Clayton Kershaw with 144, and Robbie Ray rounds out the top 3 with 133. Complete games thrown among American League pitchers. Garrett Cole and Masahiro Tanaka each have 3 complete games on the year. Jake Odorizzi and Aaron Savali tied for third best with 2. In the National League, Jacob deGrom's up to 4 complete games thrown on the year, and there are 2 pitchers who have thrown 3. Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler are the 2. Innings pitched leaders in the American League. Hyunjin Ryu has 121 innings completed this year. In the National League, Clayton Kershaw has 124 innings completed, as does Aaron Nola. They're both at the top of this list. Walks allowed among American League pitchers. Carlos Carrasco has allowed the least amount with 19 in this league. In the National League, Brett Anderson's allowed 23, which is the least in the NL among pitchers that qualify. Whip leaders in the American League, Jake Odorizzi has a 107 whip. Carlos Carrasco second best with a 109. Dylan Bundy also at a 109. Slightly higher than Carrasco's though, and he's third best on the list. In the National League, Aaron Nola has the lowest whip with a 101. Marcus Stroman second best with a 102, and Clayton Kershaw third best with a 105. Pitching WAR leaders in the American League, Shane Bieber has a 2.9 WAR, Jake Odorizzi second best with a 2.8, and Carlos Carrasco third best with a 2.7. In the National League, Jacob deGrom has a 3.2 WAR, Steven Strasburg the next best with a 3.1, and Robbie Ray third best with a 2.9. Batting WAR leaders in the American League, Marcus Semien has a 5.2, as does Yohan Moncada, and DJ LeMahieu rounds out the top 3 with a 4.9. And in the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. is at a 6.4, Christian Yelich above 6 now, he's at a 6.1, and Paul Goldschmidt rounds out the top 3 with a 5.5. These have been your game recaps, standing updates, and league leaders from Wednesday, July the 1st, 2020. I'm Nicholas Callis. You've been watching Major League Baseball's Virtual Network.